This week on Tales of a Kiss Geek, I'm proud to be joined by Spyder of Steel Panther. I'm proud to be joined today by easily the most talented bass player in Steel Panther. I'm joined by...
Well, thanks, man.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I mean, that's debatable. You know, Satchel's pretty talented on the bass.
I'd say Sticks could play as well, because I hear he plays the mean piano.
And so can Michael Starr. You ever seen Michael Starr play guitar or bass? He's the talented cat. And piano. I've seen him film some piano stuff, and I didn't know he could play piano. And he was filming some advertisements for upcoming shows back a couple of years ago, and he was making stuff up on the fly, and he blew me away. I couldn't believe it. I was laughing my ass off.
That's very cool. Actually, when you talk about Michael Starr playing bass, I remember, I think it was either Rebel Yell or there was some Billy Idol song that they used to go into, and right when it became the solo, Lexi would take off the bass and Michael would play.
Yeah, there's a few spots like that. And when David Draymond used to get up on stage with him, Michael Starr would play bass on Whole Lotta Love a lot of times too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so there's probably some YouTube video somewhere of that from the old House of Blues days.
I'd say there is. Now, I don't think we came here to talk about Michael Starr.
We
came here to talk about... Oh, no, it's all good. It's all good. I'm excited to talk to yourself. Is this the first interview you've done as the new Steel Panther bass player?
This is officially the first interview that I've done as the new bass player in Steel Panther.
That's awesome. I'm happy. And I bet you never thought it was going to be a little leprechaun dude in Ireland.
I love that. And I love Ireland, and I can't wait to be there at the end of May. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. And especially that it's the Vicar Street over here is known as, whenever I talk to friends and I say I'm going to a gig and they say, oh, where is it? Whenever you say Vicar Street, it's like, oh, that's going to be a good show. It's intimate and it sounds great.
Yeah, awesome.
So,
I'm so looking for, and I've heard in Belfast too that venue is absolutely spectacular. I saw some pictures of Gojira playing there, and I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to be on that stage. It just looks spectacular.
Yeah, and it's actually in the back of my head to think about doing the Belfast show as well. It's a bit of a travel, but it's worth it. Like, it's going to be my third time seeing the band, so why not make it a fourth?
Awesome.
So I know that everybody's saying the new bass player, but you obviously know the guys quite a long time. How did you actually meet each of the guys?
I met them. We were playing in a Van Halen tribute band together, and Michael Starr was a singer, and Satchel played guitar with us for about 5 years. And I've known Sticks and I used to play hockey together years and years ago before any music stuff. And I walked into an audition one time, and Sticks was in the audition on drums. And I walked in and I was like, what are you doing here? I knew him from playing hockey. And I was like, I didn't even know you played drums. He's like, I didn't know you played bass. And then you know, look where we are now. It's unbelievable.
That's awesome. And yeah, I know it's going to be a bit of a question, but of course there's an answer. Who's your favorite guy in the band? And you can't say yourself.
My favorite guy from Steel Panther?
Yes.
Lexi Fox.
Oh, nice answer. That was
my favorite. Lexi Fox is my favorite character. He's one of my best friends. I love the guy to death. And other than him, I got to say Michael Starr, because he's a lead singer. He brings the heat. He's the most ultimate front man. You know, what can you say about it? There's just nobody like that guy. And I mean, all the guys. And you know, I want to bring something up too that I want to make a point in all the interviews, is that it blows my mind that Satchel is not on the cover of every single guitar magazine out there, because he's one of the best guitar players in the world, hands down, no questions asked. I don't understand.
Fully agree. Absolutely. I'm one of the nicest guys as well. I actually remember when you guys, I say you guys because you were a part of the team as well, came to Dublin in, I believe, 2018. I was one of the crazy fans that thought, why don't we run around to the back of the venue after the show and see, you know, maybe they might be leaving or whatever. And Satchel was like, he actually stood around and spoke to us for a good 15, 20 minutes. And I believe a certain someone was tugging at him, trying to get him to leave and get into the taxi to get going. But all of the guys were lovely guys to talk to, Lexi included.
Yeah, everyone's really, really nice and really accessible. And Satchel probably more than any others. There's sometimes I'll look out the window of the bus and I'm like, he's still out there talking to everybody. It's so awesome. I mean, everyone's willing to sign stuff and talk to fans. And sometimes when someone doesn't, they might be sick or they might be a little, under the weather or just not feeling great. So it's not necessarily, like, somebody doesn't want to talk to the fans or whatever. It just might something particular is going on that night, because everyone in the band is so good. I've never seen them any other way than just so good with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is the upcoming album on the Prowl is going to be your first recording with the band. Can you take me a little bit into the process of what it was like to record the album?
Yeah, it all happened for me kind of last minute, because a lot of the album tracks were pretty close to finished, and there was a guide bass track on there that Satchel had laid down, and I had filled in on some shows back in April of last year, and we were talking about the European tour and we were talking about the album, and then when it worked out in the schedule that I was going to be able to do the 6 weeks in Europe with them last year, we also talked about playing on the album, because they at that time didn't have an official bass player, and they thought it was a great idea. So I had a lot of we all recorded kind of at home. So Satchel recorded all the guitars and the guide bass track in his studio at home. Styx recorded drums. I think he did a guide drum track until he figured out everything he was going to do, and then he went into a studio and played all the drums. And I believe Michael Starr sang everything in Styx's home studio, or most of the tracks. Whereas before, the band would go do the natural way. You go into a studio, you lay down all the bass tracks, the basic tracks, the drums, the bass, rhythm guitar, and then go to our producer Jay Rustin's studio, and he has a vocal booth, and Michael Starr would record vocals in there, and Satchel could do guitar solos, and all the extras would be done outside of a huge recording studio that cost so much money. And this time everyone did it at home because it was COVID, and it just worked out like that. So they with technology, they're able to send me what are called the stems, or the drum track, the guitar track, and the vocal track for each song. And then I'm able to line them up in recording software and play my bass track. And I did it all sitting right here in my apartment in my little home studio, sent off the tracks to them and sent them off to Jay, the producer, and he mixed everything together and made it sound amazing. It's so incredible how it worked out and how great it sounds for the way that we were able to record it.
It's so cool. And speaking, I'm fascinated, because speaking as a guitar player myself, I'm one of the few that love going into the studio and actually, getting in there and you just, get down into it and recording. But a question that was in the back of my head was, when you guys actually recorded all the tracks and you sent them off to the producer, was there any kind of, no, I want you to record that bass track again, or I want you to redo the guitar solo, coming from Jay?
I don't believe there was. Most of the stuff before the final track is sent out, all I had recorded my parts, and some of the stuff, I would change around a little bit, and then I would send a rough mix of my bass sitting in the track, or one with the bass just a little bit louder so they could kind of hear what was going on. And there might have been a couple things that Satchel was like, oh no, there's this run here and we need to copy that, or this not. Things were kind of approved before the final mix was. The final tracks were sent off. Once the tracks were final, there was nothing that came back and said, oh hey, by the way, this is we need to fix this, or something's out of time, or there's a wrong note here, or something like that. It all went down pretty fast. I recorded my tracks. I was working my day job at Starbucks and then coming home at night and doing all the tracks at night. And there were some nights I would finish 2 tracks in one night. So I think I did 12 songs. There's 13 on the record. One does not have bass on it. And I did them all, I think it was just in under 10 days.
Wow. Okay, you've piqued
Yeah,
my interest. There's a song
yeah,
that doesn't have any bass on it.
yeah,
Can you
yeah.
elaborate on that?
There's a song on there. We'll just let everyone check out the record and hear it. It's a great song, and I didn't even know anything about it because that wasn't one of the songs I received. So when I heard the final mix record, and all of a sudden there was this extra song on there, I was like, "Oh, this song's amazing! How come I haven't heard it?" And they're like, "Well, you
I
dummy, there's no
wonder.
bass. That's why you haven't heard it."
I wonder, is this going to be a cover of Guns N' Roses' "My World" from Use Your Illusion?
No, no. It's a great acoustic tune, um,
Okay,
with Satchel and Michael Starr. It's really really good song, really great song.
awesome. I can't wait for it.
Yeah.
And do you have like a favorite song off the album? It doesn't even have to be one that was released. Just your honest favorite song.
Um, I love the songs are amazing. I was blown away. Obviously, I've been friends with these guys since from day one and know every song on every record. And when I started hearing the some of the demos and some of the stuff that was going on for this record, I was like, man, you guys have a really strong record going on. That was one of the reasons I was really excited about playing bass on it too.
Yeah.
Hearing some of the tracks going, gosh, I would love to have bass, play bass on this and just make. I think I bring a little bit of a angrier, for lack of better term, angrier or uh, aggressive, meaty bass tone. And I
Okay.
just thought with the way some of the songs were, that just a tight, thick, pounding bass would just sound so good on some of those songs. So it got me really excited. And I love Friends with Benefits, the song that just came out. Such a cool song. There's a song in there called Teleporter that nobody's heard yet. I love Teleporter. It's got just such a great riff in it. And there's a kind of a hidden track. It's not hidden, but I don't know how much people are going to talk about. It's called Sleeping on the Rollaway. It's the last song on the record. And there's just something about that song I like so much. I every time it comes on, I get really jacked up, and it's such a cool vibe. There's some alternative elements in there, and there's even a part in there that
Okay.
reminds me a little bit of Oasis, just in a chord progression way, not necessarily
Okay.
in a sound way. So I was like, I wonder if people are going to pick up on some of the hints to some of these bands that might not be, quote unquote metal bands, but that are kind of interwoven in the music,
I'm sure they will. Like, I've noticed definitely a pattern. I've been a fan since 2010, and it's actually I think it's funny now when I look back. I was a teenager, a young teenager, and I found the album in a second-hand CD shop. Now,
Amazing.
when I think about it, yeah, when I think about it now, though, the album was only out about a year, if even, the first album. So someone obviously heard it and went, "That's disgusting. I'm returning this," or whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
but I've definitely noticed that with each album, there's been a different kind of tone, but like an underlying, it's Steel Panther, but it's kind of different flavors of Steel Panther.
right.
So I
Yeah,
like that about the albums.
Satchel's such a prolific songwriter, and he's always looking for ways to make the songs, just slightly different. He wants them to be Steel Panther, but he doesn't want it to get boring, or he doesn't want to sound like he's regurgitating the same songs over and over, which can be really difficult in this type of genre. And he brings in influences from all over. It could be Cheap Trick, it could be King's X, it could be Judas Priest or Rat, or even like I said, an Oasis thing, or maybe a Green Day kind of thing, or some things like that, which people might, Steel Panther fans might want, say Green Day, Oasis, screw that stuff. But if you don't know what you're listening for, it might pass you right by, and you won't even notice that. You just go, man, that's such a great song, and not even know where
Absolutely.
some of those elements come from.
Yeah. Now you guys have put out, I believe, it's actually three videos now you've put out for the album. Can you tell me a little bit about the next one that's to come? Because I know that Styx has mentioned there's going to be a follow up.
Yes, we've already shot the video. It's going to come out sometime after the tour starts.
Okay.
They wanted to get Friends with Benefits out for Valentine's Day, which I thought was genius. And so
Yeah.
they got that done, which we actually shot the next song. We shot that video first and shot Friends with Benefits after that. But with the idea being that this fourth song is going to come out somewhere, after we start off the tour on Friday. So, sometime in the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks, there will be a fourth video off the new record, and it's more in the lines of 1987 than it's in the lines of Friends with Benefits. I think people are really gonna like it. It's a great song.
Oh, I can't wait because I loved when 1987 came out. That's my favorite so far.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great song, and it's one of the rare ones where there's no cursing or bad words or talking about dicks and balls and vaginas and all that kind of stuff. It's a great tune, homage to one of the greatest years in heavy metal ever.
Absolutely. Now, what was it like filling in? You had to fill obviously a big character's shoes, someone like Lexi Fox, and I say that because I think he's quite the underrated bass player.
100%.
Just me speaking personally, and he's
Yeah.
a fingers guy as well. He's not a pick guy. So,
Yep.
what was that like filling in? His shoes.
Yeah, it was that's a big spot to step into, and you never know how the fans are going to react. And of course, it was my favorite character. Every time I would go watch them, I would always watch Lexi Fox, and I would tell him after shows that I saw him do this or saw him do that, and he'd be like, you saw that, that's amazing. I'm like, of course, I'm watching you. You make me laugh so hard every time, and the little subtleties of what he would do were just so genius and so great. And then on top of it, I never heard him make any mistakes. I'm like, how he's doing he has this amazing persona, and he's so great on stage, and at the same time I'm not hearing mistakes, and I'm like, I've got to live up to that. There's just no way. You can never live up to someone like that or replace something like that. You just have to do your own thing, and hopefully it translates and it fits in and the crowd accepts it, and it's great. And hopefully over time that will be the case. So far it's been great. The fans have been amazing, and it was kind of fun on some of the early European shows when we would first come out, and you have the people that don't know that Lexi had left the band, and they're looking at this new guy on stage, like the look of shock on their face, and like, what's going on here? And then 3-4 songs into it, they're got their hands up going, you rock, and give me the horns. And by the end of the show, they're chanting Spyder, Spyder, and it's absolutely amazing. The Panthers are so great, and it's been so wonderful to be accepted by them, the way it has. There's always going to be a few people that say, I miss Lexi Fox, or we want Lexi back in the band. I miss him too, and the guys miss him too. But it was his choice to leave, and the band's got to go on, and I'm just fortunate that it worked out that I could do it, because it's a dream come true.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, one thing I love about the Steel Panther shows is the set lists. So, as I've said, I've seen 3 different shows, and each set list has been unique. There's been, maybe a couple of Van Halen covers thrown in at times, which have been just cool surprises. But is there any Steel Panther song, or you can name a few songs if you wanted, that you think I really would love to play this live? Maybe it's never been played live, or maybe, it's just a song that got played once or twice.
I'd love to play I'm Not Your Bitch. That would be a great one.
Okay.
I actually played bass on that song. I was a secret special bass player.
No way.
On I'm Not Your Bitch. So they were supposed to have, I believe Michael Anthony was originally going to play on that record. I think that's the one where they had Rudy Sarzo play bass on it as well. He played on a track.
That's right, Heavy Metal Rules.
From Quite Right on Heavy Metal Rules, yeah. And originally, I believe they were talking to Michael Anthony about playing bass on I'm Not Your Bitch.
Wow.
And somehow it fell through. And I was around when that happened. They're like, oh, Michael Anthony's not going to be able to do it. And I was like, well, I can do it. And so I played bass on that song. And on the first pressing of the record, my name is not on there because the record, it was a last minute thing, like this record was, but the record had already been pressed, so they couldn't go in and change it and put Bass by Spyder on there.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
The first pressings of the record does not say that I'm on there, but that's me playing on I'm Not Your Bitch.
So if I can put,
a lot of people claim that Satchel played all the bass on the Steel Panther records, and that is 100% not true. Lexi Fox played bass on all the Steel Panther records.
I would say he's a one take guy as well.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Great bass player.
If you'll allow me to, sorry.
To answer your question though, another song that I would like. There are some surprises in the set. We put a new set list together. There's obviously the standard songs you have to play. You got to play Glory Hole and Death to All But Metal, Community Property. But there are some changes to the set from what we've been doing since last year, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. There's a few songs off the new record and some songs that are being brought back that they haven't played for a while, and we're gonna give it a go, and I think people are really gonna like the new set list.
I'm glad. That's
Yeah.
one thing that I'm actually really happy for, because I tuned into one of the live streams that they did. Actually, I bought a ticket to each live stream they did, but one of them, my favorite album is Balls Out. Now this is up to this point. Hopefully, On the Prowl can take its place. But
Cool.
I remember that on the live stream they opened up with something like 4 or 5 songs from Balls Out. So I loved it. But when will one of the new songs be played live? Something like 1987 or an album cut?
We've been playing Never Too Late since it came out, all for the last well, I don't remember the date that song came out. Was it October, I believe?
You've actually been
played
playing that song since before the album, since before the single release.
Yeah, right before it. We played it a couple times. So we've kept that in the set the whole time since that came out. And then with the new videos, you gotta play some of the other songs too. So we're gonna be working new songs in and out of the set list. And 1987 was #1 on the rock charts in Germany for 4 weeks in a row. I think this week it's #3. So that's a pretty good run. So you can't have a song do that well on the radio and have such an amazing reaction to it and not play it live. So we've got to play that song live for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. That would be a great one. And is there a plan on doing a follow-up to On the Prowl?
Oh, I'm sure there will be. Satchel's always writing riffs, and we're always messing around with riffs at soundcheck and all kinds of different things. There's all kinds of different ideas floating around. So I'm sure at some point down the road we'll get into discussing another record and what that's going to be. But we've got so much work ahead of us with this one, and not even coming out till Friday, that it's going to be a lot of touring and a lot of playing shows without a lot of breaks. So there won't be a lot of time to start working on a new record yet, but I'm sure that'll be in the works. We'll probably start talking about it sometime next year.
Awesome. Well, Spyder, thanks very much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'll let you get back to your exciting life, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in Dublin in May.
Thanks, Glenn. Yeah, we'll see you in Ireland, and please save a pint of Guinness for me. I can't wait.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
Everybody, it's Bruce Kulick here, and you're watching Tales of a Kiss Geek.